We are in the first fires in Defiance Bay, a section of the city that seems to be where the authority lies, and power as well. The Ducal Palace is here, as well as the head of the Crucible Knights. Adair believes he may be able to find more about the circumstances of his brother's death in Defiance Bay. He suggested there may be records of the Saints' War in an archive in the Ducal Palace. And then we have a rogue knight. Osric was kicked out of the Crucible Knights by a fellow knight named Penhelm. Worse, his superiors confiscated a breastplate that's been in his family for generations. Osric has asked me to help retrieve a breastplate from Penhelm. He believes his rival might have forged a document from Dennard Row, verifying the purity of his soul. If I can prove Penhelm's forgery, I may have some leverage to get the breastplate back. Osric, a trainer at the Crucible Hall in Copper Lane, told me that his breastplate would be somewhere in the Crucible Keep in First Fires. He also mentioned that Penhelm, the keeper of the armory, was one of the officers who had him expelled and is unlikely to return the heirloom willingly. That is important only... It's right here, Crucible Keep. It's important only for the reason that he will, if I help him, he'll help me with the expeditions given out. And the Ducal Palace is there. And the Valiant Embassy. Don't really have any interest in that at the moment. We can go there last. What's this? Weeds grow thick and full, and troubled by the passage of Kith. It is interesting what I have in my old book on Wodica. Goddess of justice, law, oaths, promises, rulership, vengeance, memory, and hierarchies. Depicted as an old noblewoman bearing a broken crown upon her head. Said to have been once ruled over the other gods, but has since been overthrown. Written oddly.
Yeah.
Well, let's get out of here.
Right.
We're all in one piece. Itamak is back up from that battle down below. There's some herbs over here. Grab that. Nice statue. It's not right. Regular folk like us should be allowed to attend the hearings. Interesting the things you overhear. You do know that there's not enough space in there for everyone, right? All I'm saying is, where's our representative? Who's speaking for the common folk? I'm interested in that too. Alright, let's go. It's the Crucible Keep. I do believe this is where all the guards in the city come from. I think it's so foreign to me here. An unfortunate mishap. A young lad has lost several fingers whilst toying with a sharpened blade. Oh no. Let this be a cautionary tale to those with little ones at home. Perhaps a wooden sword is a wiser gift. That little fool of a kid. I was around sharp implements growing up on the farm. I never had any problems cutting off. Well, I didn't have any issues. I didn't cut myself. Anyways, I'm sure it won't be the last I hear of it. What is this broken little tower? The stones of the ancient tower have been blackened by centuries-old fires, surrounded by a patch of wildflowers. It looks like a memorial.
Aye?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, we passed by there long ago. Let's go down this way. Valiant diplomat. Being assigned to the embassy in Defiance Bay is an immense honor. Hello. The Justiciar says, what is it? I'm looking for a neighborhood with a tower. It's near a cemetery. Best you stop looking then. The place you want is Heritage Hill. You can see the tower over the district walls out that way. The Justiciar points to the northwest. But something happened there. They don't let people in anymore, and none of the knights want to be posted anywhere close to it. Steer clear if you know what's good for you. Where are the mad kept in Defiance Bay? I'm pretty sure this is in the sanitarium. One place around here that takes them in is Brackenberry Sanitarium. I've heard that they can treat your soul there, take the madness away. But there's just as many stories coming out that place will chill your from that place that'll chill your blood. There's a man, if you want to call him that, Elhimor there. He's head warden. If you're visiting or checking yourself in, he's the one to talk to. Is he not the statue I talked to? Farewell. Well, that does help. So, Heritage Hill is to the west of here. We're in the center of the city. A big door ahead. Well, let's open it and go in. Interesting. I hear people. What business brings you to the keep? Hello?
Well met, friend.
He gives me an appraising eye. Judging by the scars on his face, he's lucky to be able to do that much. Every day we get more from the hinterlands pouring into Defiance Bay. Keeps us busy on the watch, it does. You look like you've recently arrived yourself. Who are you? A soldier of the Crucible Knights, and proud of it. I help keep everything running at the keep so that the Commander Cliver can focus on more important matters. What goes on in Crucible Keep? This is the headquarters of the Crucible Knights, so it's where we store arms and armor, as well as where many of our soldiers bunk. Commander Cliver's in the back, making plans as usual. He scratches a scarred cheek. You'll find the forge at the west end of the building along with our Mastersmith Dunstan. There's also a shrine to the Golem, if you're the praying type. Tell me about the Crucible Knights. We're the defenders of Defiance Bay. We're not exactly a formal knighthood, but don't tell Commander Cliver I said that. He grins. We were the first organized militia to oppose Aedarian rule, and today we're the largest force in the city. Our soldiers undergo years of combat training, and our officers are required to have their souls read by that critter out in Dunnard Row. What's this about Dunnard Row? Just a requirement of the Crucible Knights, so the higher-ups know that there's nothing messy built in your soul's past. He widens his stance. Keeping the ranks pure is fine by me. I just wish that they were more careful in hiring their ciphers. What's wrong with their ciphers? He shifts his weight and glances at the empty halls. They're mostly Orlans, and I'm sure they're talented enough, but you just can't trust them. Hostility's in their nature, and they've learned to hide it over the years. He frowns and crosses his arms. All I'm saying is that they should at least be supervised by other folk. That's reasonable enough, isn't it? How do I respond to this, though? Well, I don't really care. Sounds fair enough. It's just one man's opinion. Exactly, but it seems like you can hardly make a simple statement like that without someone wanting to draw steel over it. That's all. Like I said, I don't care about this man's opinion. True or not, I just don't want to get involved with it. Won't be long before we're a formal knighthood. Well, it sounds like you guys kind of are. It seems strange to me that... I guess the Duke hasn't declared you to be one. Oh, the training grounds. Where they're training their novitiates. We need to deal with Heritage Hill. Hello. The Justiciars' gaze flicks over to me briefly before returning to the novitiates gathered in the training area. If this is about patrols, my novitiates are already stretched to their limit. Between the refugee influx and the mess at Heritage Hill, I simply don't have any units to spare. After a pause, she looks over at me again. I'm sorry, was there something else you need? What? Is there something wrong at Heritage Hill? She lowers her voice. What isn't wrong is the real question. A whole district of walking flesh-eating corpses. We sealed the area 2 months ago, just after I lost one of my finest commanders there, and yet this is the second guard rotation to disappear. There are already enough rumors about the place floating around the keep without my soldiers whispering about these disappearances. She shakes her head. I'd just as soon abandon the district, but if those monsters should find a way out... I could look into it. She steps back and regards me. After what I've just told you, you want to go to Heritage Hill? I've lost trained soldiers there. Why should I let anyone in? It just seemed like you could use the help. I'm hoping for payment for this. If you're so eager to rush to your deaths, I won't stop you. She quietly looks on at the novitiates, and if you're somehow able to put a stop to this, you've got my permission to enter Heritage Hill. I'll send word to the guards at the gate. Tell me about Heritage Hill. Used to be one of the most prestigious districts in Defiance Bay, but a few months ago the residents all went mad, started eating each other, and anything else that had the bad luck to wander into the district. I've never seen anything like it. I've never heard anything like that. Now, every novitiate that stands guard there, every one that comes back anyway, talks of the stench of the grave and the groans of unspeakable horrors. She holds up one plate-cladded finger. The why and the how are questions for the animancers. I've sealed the district in hopes of containing whatever happened there. It seems to be working, for now. If there's nothing else, I must attend to my duties. What do you do here? I'm in charge of the keep's novitiates. I'm responsible for their training and patrol assignments. She nods at the group gathered in the training room. They're good soldiers, and they've been quick to adapt to new challenges. Well, very well then. Don't want to keep you any longer. Oh, that sounds... You know, sometimes it's worth working just to get your name out. That's what my masters tell me, even if you're not going to get payment, or very little payment for your efforts. And in the capital of Dyrwood, I don't think I could do something better than to clean out a whole entire district. Let's go, guys. With a better name... Oh, this place is enormous. I'm gonna get lost. Let's go left, try to double back to where we were. What's in here? Oh. Looks like scrolls and... I was gonna say storage, but no, like a scroll and library area. This is a record of active patrols and reported crimes in Andra's gift. The latter far outnumber the former. Too many crimes, not enough soldiers to patrol, I suppose. Looks like where they sleep in that room. What's this? Oh. Blacksmith? Tongs, hardies, hammers, fullers, and punch tools hang from the wall. They feel heavy and sturdy. But their flame-darkened surfaces testify to frequent use. Hello?
If this is about the breastplates, I already told Cleaver they won't be repaired till next week.
The dwarf bustles between a sweltering forge fire and a work table. He wipes one muscle-knotted arm across his brow. What do you do here?
I'm a forge master. I'm a master smith for the Crucible Knights. But the way I see it, I'm also keeping up with our old traditions. The first members of our order were smiths. Nowadays, most everyone's a professional soldier. I suppose it's to be expected, but I think it's important we keep up with our roots, too.
Something else on your mind? Tell me about the knights.
We were all smiths back in Hodred's day, though I'm about the only one here who still gets his hands dirty. We're a fearsome fighting force. Though these days, I think Cleaver takes more pride in our parade formations.
He thinks himself a progressive man, but he's obsessed with soul lineages and connection to the Dyrwood's heroes of old. He picks up a hammer again. Other than Dunward Rowe, who really knows about any of that, though. I would. I am a cipher, after all. Tongues of flame lick at the forge, hissing with smoke as hot as a dragon's breath. Interesting. This is not the place we came in. Well, now this kind of looks like storage, maybe even a second smithy. Let's go. Oh. Hello. The young novitiate's armor has recently shined, and his hair is clean and neatly combed. It's hard to believe he's ever been in battle, never seen battle, or that scarred antique breastplate he wears could possibly be his. Are you looking for something? You aren't Penhelm, are you? Does the Knight Ostrich sound familiar? He sniffs. If you've got any self-respect, you won't associate with him, or with any of his new friends at the Expedition Hall, for that matter. Scamps and delinquents, the lot of them. What's the story between you two? Ostrich has always held some controversial opinions, but they went overlooked for the longest time because his family has such an extensive history of service in the Crucible Knights. He frowns and crosses his arms. He finally went too far. He had the gall to suggest that we had strayed too far from our roots, that some of our officers were beginning to resemble their nobility. He rubs a spot in his bracer with a silk handkerchief. He would have us all wearing rough spun and fight with forge hammers. I merely reported his statements. That history made the knights what they are now. You can't just cast it aside. We've overgrown that past. He waves a shining gauntlet. Sometimes you need to move on. Sagani frowns. Overgrown it like an old sealskin coat? You adapt with the times, sure, but that's a bit naive. If the knights obsessed over their past, they wouldn't have grown into the fighting force they are today. I don't want to say that. I just don't see the problem, though. He sputters. People change. Organizations change. The Crucible Knights began a militia of blacksmiths, but Dunstan's one of the only officers who can wield a hammer these days. I met him. We're professional soldiers. Isn't that who you want defending a city? Besides, a novitiate has no business maligning his superiors. Well, if the knights obsessed over their past, they wouldn't have grown into the fighting force they are today, then. He nods. I quite agree. That's why Ostrich has no place here. Is that his breastplate you're wearing? It was. He looks down and admires it. It became property of the Crucible Knights when he was discharged. Now it's mine. And it's not for sale, if that's what you're wondering. Not every day you'll find armor that has been used in the rebellion. He says your affidavit is a forgery. Just what would he know about that? It's perfectly convenient for him to cast aspersions, what with his pedigree in the Knights. He folds his arms. He blinks at me. It's a lie, of course. Enough about Osric. On that we can agree. Tell me about the Knights of the Crucible. We're the primary defenders of Defiance Bay. The Order's founders were the first to rally for Dyrwoodian independence. He waves his hand. Of course, that's ancient history now. Now we're the most prestigious company of soldiers in the Dyrwood. It's a glorious line of work. He scrunches up his nose. If you can forget about the barracks, that is. Was there anything else? How does one become a knight? We don't take just anyone. Our members share soul legacies with the very men and women who defended this land a century and a half ago. He shifts his weight and coughs. Anyhow, Commander Cleaver is responsible for initiations, but he rarely accepts foreigners. He knows I'm not from here, huh? Farewell, then. How can I prove this man? Maybe... More leverage. Penhelm doesn't appear to be keen on parting with Osric's armor, which he is presently wearing. More leverage is required. Osric believes that Penhelm's affidavit, affirming that Penhelm's soul is free of any endearing influence, is a forgery. He said I could find it somewhere in the Crucible Keep in First Fires. That means we need to be looking. There was a room that we passed, that we actually went into. Just Justiciars. These blades are razor sharp. Let's go back in that room. No one was there. I don't know if they'd ever accept me as one of their Justiciars. Close the door behind us. Oh, hello. Just checking out the room. Well, we obviously can't do anything while she's here. I don't want to start killing them. She's left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keeping an eye out.
Everybody in. Okay. Quickly before somebody else comes. I must hurry up. It's locked.
I'll get it open.
Full helm. Skill armor. Nothing there. Waste of lockpicks. What's this? Blacksmith Knights. A short history of the Knights of the Crucible. I don't think that they would care if I took that. Let's see. It would probably be one of the scrolls. Ah, I found it after searching for a while. Penhelm's affidavit. Curran, a cipher duly appointed and employed by Dyrwood, does hereby certify that novitiate A.M. Penhelm has been found to have a soul free of any subversive influences or tainted essence. The scroll is stamped with the seal of Dyrwood and signed by both Penhelm and Curran. Curran, the cipher who signed off on Penhelm's affidavit, works at Hadrit House in Brackenbury. We've been there. He should know for certain whether or not the affidavit is genuine, so we've got a little bit more searching around. Let's check this desk, see if there's anything here. Scroll of play... what's this? Edict of Arrest. This edict calls for the arrest of Aorn, whose recent actions have led to the death of a knight in the Crucible. It requests reporting any information to Jessica Aldmar. It is signed Commander Cleaver. Well, I don't know of any Aorn. Yes! Was he not? Yes, he was. He was the, He was the little one that we found in the catacombs. We let him go. Anyways, that's on me. That's my choice. I guess we can stop skulking around. Hello. Just, practicing sneaking... Okay. Well, I wouldn't mind speaking to the commander of this place. And, then we'll head out and explore more of the area of this city.